Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm the City Witch. So I just wanted to pop on real quick to do a book review for this book. So this book is called Anatomy of a Witch, A Map to the Magical Body by Laura Tempest Zakharoff. Now I've read one other book by her and I really enjoyed it. It was her Sigil Magic book. I've not had a chance to read Weave the Liminal yet. It is in my wish list to buy, but I definitely will be buying it because this book was just wonderful and I really enjoyed it. Now, what saddens me about this is this book isn't really talked about much and there wasn't a lot out there on this book, but this is definitely a book that I highly recommend to new practitioners that are just coming out and starting their journey, because this gives you excellent foundations for learning how to recognize your personal power and how to apply that to your witchcraft by working through the various different areas of the body. Now, one of the books that I do recommend is Matt Oren's The Psychic Witch, which I've already discussed in a previous video. So if you want to go and check that out, guys, go ahead. Now, that book is definitely a book that's spoken about in circles quite a lot. You know, the witch community was buzzing about it. Matt Oren wrote a truly wonderful, excellent book for any practitioner, and it's great for a beginner witch as well. That book helps bridge the gap between the psychic realm and witchcraft, bringing the two together, making you a psychic witch. This book, however, is what teaches you how to focus on your personal power. So if you use this book alongside Matt Oren's The Psychic Witch, you've got the best of both worlds. Not only do you know your psychic strengths and weaknesses and how to apply that to your craft, your witchcraft journey, in this you know how to recognize your personal power, how to summon and build upon your power, and how to direct it correctly in witchcraft. You know your strengths and weakness elementally, and you know how to recognize powers and energies and vibrations from all around you. This book gives you those foundations, building upon that into Matt Oren's book. So you get all of that just by working through those two books, guys. And it's a real shame this book isn't talked about enough for that reason, because definitely this book would be really helpful to a beginner witch. So I'm going to read you the back of the book and then we're going to go through the content so you know exactly what is inside this book. And then along the way, I'll give you little prompts and things that I found when I was reading it and what I enjoyed the most about this book. So on the back of the book, it says, Embodied Witchcraft for Wisdom, Connection and Power. This book is a guide to the most magical tool in your possession, your body. Not just your physical flesh and blood body, but also your symbolic witch body, the conduit for bringing the material and metaphysical worlds together. Within these pages, you will explore hands-on magical practices, exercises, and sigils related to your witch's lungs, heart, bones, mind, and the spiral path of the inner serpent. Magic flows most freely when you are in tune with your intuition and the power of your true self. Through dozens of activities, prompts, spells and rituals, Anatomy of the Witch helps you connect with the seen and unseen worlds, your ancestors and your living community. Discover the profound correspondences between the body and the mythos of tarot and the 5 elements. Practice rituals and activities for protection, warding, rebalancing your home and embracing your body, despite the limiting beliefs that society fosters upon us. This book teaches you how to tap into your personal power as you make a pilgrimage to the inner workings of your true self. Now, that last bit about teaching you how to tap into your personal power, now that's something I hoped a different book would do for me, and it actually didn't. Now, I know how to access my personal power. I've done a lot of these exercises, and long before Matt Oren brought out his book, a lot of those techniques I've already gathered and worked through different writers and authors over the years. What was good about his book is he put it all into one tome, so you don't have to go out your way to buy all these various other books that I have. You just buy the one book and it's got everything you need. This book does the same thing with Witch's Power. The book that disappointed me, that I thought would do what this one did, was this one. So this one is The Witch's Book of Power by Devin Hunter, and to be honest, this was a complete waste of money and I kind of want to burn it. I thought it was awful. It was probably the worst book I've read this year. There was very little in it I thought was helpful. It's supposed to teach you how to connect to your witch's power, but instead it waffles on a lot about his beliefs about the divine and his version of the goddess, which he focuses a lot on Diana and Dianaic magic. He also pushes a lot of his beliefs and techniques and his school of thought upon you, which is okay if he'd have advertised it that way, that this is his particular school of training. And if you want to learn a new path, like if you decide you want to be Wicca, you go and buy books on Wicca. If you wanted to do his school of magic, you would buy a book on that. You wouldn't buy this one, which claims to be a book of witch's power. The other thing I didn't like about this book was he tells you that witches' power comes from angels, and I really did not like that, because he's basically saying that our personal power, which we are born with, comes from a completely different being gifted to us years and years ago through bloodlines, and that all our powers are different because all the angels were different, and it's nothing to do with angels, guys. So it was just a completely rubbish explanation, a really poorly written book, and there's very little about the book that I enjoyed. So I don't recommend this at all. I will be doing a separate review on this, by the way, and it'll probably be a bad review, just to warn you. But this book, this was bought for me as a birthday present by my mum. She couldn't possibly have known that I wanted this book. She just kind of went, oh, that looks interesting, and got it for me. And I adored it. It did exactly what the other book should have done. This is a book of witches' power. This teaches you all about your power, how to recognize your power, how to feel for your power, how to work through the various different sections of your body, connecting to the elements as you go, which gives you a clue as to how the elements rule over your body. Then, when you learn all of this, she then gives you techniques on to apply that to the world around you. So you not only know how to manipulate and work with your own personal power, you can manipulate energies and powers around you externally as well. Teaches you your strengths, your weaknesses, how to turn your weaknesses into strengths. Teaches you lots and lots of different techniques and exercises on working with your body as well. So one of the things I will say about this book, it's not a shadow magic book. However, there were things in it that for me flagged up as, oh, I need to work on that. Perhaps I need to do a little bit of shadow work there, or there is a trauma there I didn't recognise. So I don't think that was what she intended, but for me, a couple of things came up. One of the examples I'll give you is when you work through the section in this book which is all about the witch's lungs, there is exercises on breath work in there. And I quickly realised that my lungs, when I was doing those breathing exercises, were not taking in air the way they should. Now that is a potential medical problem that I was unaware of, but now I am aware of it. So just be aware that when you're working through this book, there may be things that come up for you that you may need to go and consult the doctor with, or you may have to do some shadow work or do some self-reflection work, which is fine. The point of these books is to prompt you, so you're working and building upon your craft and recognizing things about yourself that you could not see before. So for me, this book did a wonderful job in that. It didn't make me feel threatened or afraid. It didn't trigger anything negative. It just made me go, oh, I perhaps need to look at that a little bit more, or I need to consult a doctor, or maybe I need to do more breathing work, or maybe maybe I've got a really bad diet and I need to do more exercise. Whatever it was, it made me reflect, and that is the point of these books, to make you reflect, learn and grow. So it did a wonderful job of that. So now I'm going to go through the content of the book, just to give you an idea of what you're going to get. So let's have a look. So the first thing is, this book helps you with lists. So it gives you a list of all the illustrations within the book. So if you want to photocopy them and add them to your book of shadows, or work through them, use them as meditation tools, you can do. It gives you a list of all the rituals and exercises as well, and that is called Rituals, Witchuals and Other Exercises. And then there's a foreword from Christopher Penzak as well. So within this book, let's go through the chapters. So first of all, you get the introduction. Under that, it will talk to you about discovering the magical body. The witch is more than parts and pieces. Fivefold form and the tarot. Elemental considerations. Body realism, better than basic, and then enter the fool, begin again. So in this book, she applies each section of your body to a tarot card, and then she tells you why she does that as well. So don't think that's random. It's not. It is relevant to this book. So she starts off by saying you're the fool and you're beginning your journey, and then hopefully by the end you'll be an empowered individual. Chapter 1, Witch Lungs. So this she applies to magician. What are witch lungs? The influential invisible, interconnectivity and the spirit of everything, sovereignty of the witch, breath gives rise to voice, wise word sigil, creating and being magical space, aroma and the magic of smell, considering pollution and the witch lungs sigil. So remember what I said, that in each chapter you'll get a sigil, and then those sigils will connect towards the end, making a bigger sigil. The sigils are quite important because they will help you work through that chapter. The sigil will help you, empower you, and it's a sigil that you can use throughout your craft as well. Chapter 2, Witch Heart. So this one connects to the priestess. I like to move it, symbolism of the heart, magic in our bloodstream entering the ritual. Now that was fascinating because the magic of the blood, she talks about blood magic and how magically blood was used in lots of different ways. And then with bloodstream, she talks about you doing an exercise that connects you to your blood flow throughout your body, and that was really fascinating to me. The tides of the body was the next one, and that was also really fascinating. Initiating ritual, muscle memory, practice makes power, heart vision, the eye of the beholder, be still, breath and blood, and then the witch heart sigil. Chapter 3, the serpent. So in this one, she connects to the Empress card. Finding the serpent, hiss, the sacred serpent, serpent wisdom, the water serpent, cleansing and purifying, preserving and building energy, devouring like a snake, following the serpent, and the serpent sigil. So this for me kind of reminded me of Kundalini, because there is a snake in Kundalini, and in that you use that to connect to your chakras and various energy points throughout the body, and also it's involved in some of the breath work. Now, while this is different and she's not referring to Kundalini at all, there's no cultural appropriation in this book at all, by the way, guys. Instead, she refers to this as being the serpent that sits in your abdomen. And the serpent can rise up or it can sink down, and it's your defense mechanism. So it's kind of like your fight or flight response. So she applies it to that more than anything. So it's more your instincts, and your instincts as a witch are very important. So partly this will focus on intuition, following your instincts, trusting your gut instinct. And she talks about that gut feeling that we all get as well, and how it connects to the serpent. So that's what that chapter's about. Chapter 4, Witch Bones. So here we connect to the Emperor card. The Bone Way, Song of the Bones, connecting with the spirit of place, houses with good bones, broken bones, and the Witch Bone sigil. Chapter 5, the Weaver. So this chapter connects to the Hierophant card. So Hey Star Stuff, magic and the electric chariot of thought, making emotions and exercises, receiving sigils, connecting with the divine, be the weaver, sensational details, sigil to enhance psychic vision, listening to the sigil, tackling amphatism. I don't think I'm saying that right, but you know, you'll get it when you read it, guys. And then the sigil of the weaver. So the weaver is your mind. And then chapter 6, loving the magical body. So here we have the Lover's card. It makes sense because this is about self-love, this chapter. So connecting with the body and reconnecting with the body of magic, the temple of time, outer layers, sigil for healing the body image issues, grow your own magical components, adorning the temple, enchanting the tongue, building the temple within. I could pee on that. Magical maintenance, familiar fabulosity, and practical love. And then chapter 7, touch the sky, kiss the earth. So here we connect to the Chariot card. The ecstasy of dance, touch the sky, gestures of the hand, kissing the earth. Chapter 8, tending the cauldrons. So in Matt Oren's book, he talks about the cauldrons, and we get that as well. I think in the Crooked Path, they talk about it. So there's a few books now that are talking about this Cauldrons of Power and how they reflect the different sections of a witch's journey, and also how the body's broken down into it. And she does the same thing, but she breaks it down differently. So we have the ritual to tend to your cauldron of warming, the ritual to cleanse your cauldron of motion, and the ritual to connect with the cauldron of wisdom, and the cauldron fountain ritual. So this is where you connect all your cauldrons and you work through that. Now the strength card is what applies to that particular section. And then chapter 9, home within the temple. Here we connect to the hermit card. So come into the dark, illuminating the path, be the witch I know you are, witch anatomy sigil. So this is where we conclude with the full sigil that connects all the other sigils you get in all the previous chapters as one giant sigil, which you can use in your magic. She also talks about you drawing these on the various areas of your body, under your clothing, and using them as a way to empower your magic and your body throughout the day. Then at the end we get a conclusion, some acknowledgements, a bibliography, and then a recommended further reading resource material list, which she gives, which I love. And then say we have our illustrations list here, and then we have all our exercises, rituals and spells, and that kind of goes on all the way throughout, and it tells you which chapters they're in and what pages they're on, so you can refer back to them time and time again. So For me, guys, this book was a 10 out of 10. I thought the book was absolutely wonderful, really well written, definitely really good for a beginner. And if you want those correct foundations in place in order to be a truly strong, powerful witch, this is definitely a good place to start. It's going to give you those foundations and teach you how to connect to your own personal magic. Combine it with Matt Oren's The Psychic Witch and you can't go wrong, guys. Those two books definitely 100% have them in your craft and work through them together. So 10 out of 10 from me. Absolutely love this book. I will do a video on Weave the Liminal when I get it and read it, and I'll let you know what that one's like as well. So if you enjoyed this video, guys, please give me a thumbs up, click the bell so YouTube will tell you when my video comes out next. If you'd like to offer like, love and support to this channel, you can do that through Patreon or through my Amazon wishlist. Both links are provided. If you'd like to leave a comment on the video, please do so and I'll get to you as soon as I can. If you'd like to book my magical services or a divination from me, you can do that through Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or via email. All the links are provided, guys. Thank you very much for watching and supporting my channel. As always, take care of yourselves and I'll see you soon. Blessed be.